Tigers fall to Texas A&M, and Brian Kelly ousted as LSU head coach. We're breaking down what's next for LSU, as well as the film on the Hannycast.
The Hannycast, a weekly LSU football film study with Charles Hannegriff and former LSU tight end Richard Dickson. Now to break down the Tiger tape, here's Charles and Richard.
I'm Charles Hannegriff along with former Tiger Richard Dickson. Richard, it all happened very, very quickly on Saturday. LSU was leading at the half, 18-14. They had taken advantage of some mistakes by Texas A&M, and then in the third quarter, in the span of 15 football minutes and maybe 35 minutes of real time, not only did the football game go away, but Brian Kelly's, basically his tenure at LSU was put to bed right there. Sunday morning, by now, if you're watching this, you already know the story. I'm not going to rehash all of that, but Kelly was fired on Sunday. Joe Sloan, the offensive coordinator, was fired on Monday. Your thoughts about how all this went down?
It's just, to me, it was shockingly fast. I told you earlier, I went Saturday night I had a function with my daughter. Sunday I went to my son's baseball game.
Yes, by the way, you were not
fired
replaced on the post-game show.
No,
but this was planned before, but go ahead.
We were planned on it. And, I walk into the ballpark at noon, and everybody's like, Brian Kelly, what's going to happen? The park is hot. Like, there's 40 baseball games going on, and every conversation's around LSU football. And then I start getting text messages. I walk in the park, I'm like, he's not getting fired. And everybody's asking me. I'm like, no, there's no way. We're not going to do it. I haven't heard anything like it. About an hour later, I get a text message, and they're like, Brian Kelly's gone. I'm like, no way. This is just another rumor. And it just started to materialize. And, I didn't get home from the ballpark till 11 o'clock Sunday night, and everything that I heard at 1 o'clock, it happened by, 7, 8 o'clock at night.
So this is the sixth LSU football coaching change that I have covered since I've been in Baton Rouge media, going back to the early 90s. And what I can tell you is that when this all happened on Sunday/Monday, I had to take a look at it and say, everything I knew about coaching changes before, I kind of have to throw away. Because if James Franklin can go from number 2 in the country to unemployed in 15 days, and Brian Kelly can go from number 5 in the country to unemployed in about a month, and if a 19-10 record in the SEC is a fireable offense, and if a 34-14 record overall is a fireable offense, then we have officially changed the entire landscape of college football. I asked this when Franklin got fired, okay? That was truly shocking to me. It has changed everything that we know, because this is not – if you put Brian Kelly's resume and Billy Napier's resume side by side, Kelly's is not a fireable offense, or wasn't before this season. And Napier's, Billy Napier lasted, a week shorter than Kelly did. He had a losing record overall, and he had a losing record in the conference. Kelly was nowhere close to that. In fact, if you throw out Texas and Oklahoma, because they weren't in the league the entire time Kelly was here, Kelly had the third best record in the Southeastern Conference, okay? Those used to not be fireable offenses. They are now. You can blame the college football playoff. If you're not in that 12-team playoff in probably 2 consecutive years at a big school, that's probably going to be it for you. If you are at a school where your ultimate goal is to win the national championship, you've got a shot at winning the national championship, and you're not in contention for that into the playoffs for a 2-year period, that's probably going to be it. So it was not like that before. If you want to blame the college football calendar, because why do you fire guys? We've had 7 of these major jobs come up before Halloween. Well, now if you don't have a coach in place and ready to go right after the season, I mean pretty much a week after the season, signing date is 2 weeks after that. The transfer portal opens 2 weeks after that. It closes 2 weeks after that. There was a time where you could wait a little bit, and now schools feel like they can't wait. You can blame NIL, you can blame the transfer portal, you can blame the calendar, you can blame the playoff, whatever it is. It's a different world that we live in now than it was just a few short years ago.
It's 100% different. It's hard for me to fathom how fast things move now, because this isn't the college football that I played in. It's not what I was used to. But I also start to think, when you start throwing out these ridiculous coaching contracts, that comes with pressure. I mean, you're paid $100 million guaranteed because the last 3 coaches won it in, 3 or 4 years? That's what you're here to do. And when they see you get embarrassed the way they got Saturday night, those same people that could afford the $100 million all of a sudden can afford to replace you.
I'm not going to get into what the buyout will end up being. I understand that there's, a lot of things going on right now. And, it changes so quickly that by the time you see this podcast, it may have changed. So I'm not going to go, we're not going to talk about that necessarily here as much as we're going to talk about what's next for LSU. The other thing I can tell you about my experience with coaching searches is that about 90% of what you hear as rumors is just that, is rumors. And if you want to know who the next LSU football coach is going to be today here, we're doing this on October the 28th, I can't tell you because I don't think that the next LSU coach knows that he's going to be the next LSU coach today, nor do I think the powers that be at LSU know who the next coach is going to be right this second. Certainly they have a list and they'll work the list, but I don't think that the day that Ed Ogeron was fired that Brian Kelly knew he was going to be the next head coach here. And I don't think that the day that Les Miles got fired that Ed Ogeron knew he was going to be the next coach here and so on and so forth. So everybody wants to know right now, and the thing is probably nobody knows exactly how this is going to all play out. Nick Saban was a late ad, okay? The first 2 weeks after Jerry DiNardo was fired, Nick Saban's name was nowhere in the conversation. So I can tell you that I understand it's frustrating because people want to know, but this is going to take just a little bit of time. We're brought to you by Cina, located in the heart of downtown Hammond, an upscale Italian restaurant serving traditional dishes in contemporary fashion, inspired by an abundance of fresh local produce and the ways of old. Cina, creating a unique dining experience. Their goal is to use local ingredients and delicious recipes to create an exceptional dining experience, while also providing a fresh and inclusive atmosphere that can be enjoyed by anyone in downtown Hammond. Cina. So let's get into what I think is the best grouping of coaches that I can tell you, and I'm going to put them kind of in order, and I'm going to bounce some of this stuff off you. First thing I like to do is eliminate some of the names that I don't think are serious contenders, and I could be wrong on all of this, okay? I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but this is my thoughts, okay? First of all, I don't think there's very many coaches that just are completely off the table. I think that there's probably a dozen, maybe as many as 15, that won't even take the phone call. But I think 90% of D1 would at least listen to what you had to say. Yeah. It's that good of a job. So here's the ones I don't think that you can get. First of all, I don't think Nick Saban's going to take this job. I just got to say that. I think Nick meant it when he said he retired. If he turns around and comes here and takes this job, I'll be the first person to say I was wrong. But I take him at his word this time that he got out for a reason, and I don't think he's itching to come back. No, and I don't think so either. I mean, there's been comments. People always ask him in every interview. And the funny one that I saw recently was that he doesn't want to coach, but he's got to keep Jimmy Sexton away from his wife because if she hears the numbers he's being offered, that she might make him. Jimmy Sexton is the happiest person in the world tonight. There's no doubt. Urban Meyer I don't think works for a few reasons. Certainly, especially what he said today. I mean, if you saw what he said today, I mean, he thought that it's a disaster that the governor's involved in hiring and firing coaches. Yeah. And he made a point to put that on a podcast today that he thought it's a bad look and it's not good for LSU. And we can argue about whether he may be right about that. I don't think that Urban Meyer is really a candidate. I think that Dan Lanning is probably unlikely, the head coach at Oregon. Oregon, the last 2 coaches that have left there, Willie Taggart and Mario Cristobal, left, despite the fact that you have all the Nike money in the world up there. Lanning feels different, though. He's younger. He has had more success, and it feels like, even with his SEC ties, that he would be very, very difficult to pry out of Oregon. He's already making $11 million a year. It seems unlikely to me. Yeah, I don't know what all his ties are other than coaching the SEC. Mario Cristobal had a high tide. I mean, he'd been involved with Miami for a long time. Yeah. Willie Taggart, I'm pretty sure, was a Florida State guy. He went to Florida State. It went bad in a hurry. So the 2 guys that had left previously, they went for different reasons. I don't see Dan Lanning. I mean, I don't see anybody competing with Phil Knight money. I don't think Marcus Freeman works from Notre Dame. I think they have given him everything he wants. I think he's already been tremendously successful there. I think he'll continue to be. I don't think if LSU goes back to fish in the Notre Dame pond, I think that you would see every knife and the claws come out. Freeman seems happy there. I don't think that works. If you want to make the call, that's fine. And Freeman would be a great coach. I think he's doing a great job up there. But I don't think that works.
No, I don't either. I mean, look, in all totality, he's done good at Notre Dame, but we've seen losses that I don't think LSU fans would be able to get past that he's had at Notre Dame.
Everybody on this list has got losses like that, so I'm not sure that is the breaking point, but I don't think that works. Two names that I just don't think work, James Franklin. Oh, listen, essentially he's a younger version of Brian Kelly. He's got a winning record with a lot of wins, but not a lot of big wins.
Yeah.
I think it's a tough sell. I don't think Jimbo Fisher works. Look, 10 years ago, Jimbo Fisher would have been a historic hire, get a national championship coach away from Florida State at the time. It didn't work out at Texas A&M. I don't think that is a player.
No, I think the game's a little bit different. I mean, I knew guys, I got friends and former coaches that were with him at A&M, and they said he tried to bring back that old school mentality, run him into the ground, beat him up, and it didn't work for him then.
You played for the guy.
Jimbo's an awesome guy. He's more of I know him as an old school coach.
Yeah, so I don't think that works. Two NFL names. Joe Brady, who was on the staff in 2019, he made it pretty clear when he left here that his future was in the NFL. He was not all that gung-ho about recruiting. He has done very well in Buffalo, didn't do as well in Carolina. I think if Buffalo finishes the season strong, there's a pretty good chance that Joe Brady's next job is going to be as a head coach in the NFL. Unless he has changed his mind drastically from when he left here, I don't think he's got a whole lot of desire to coach in college.
No, I'm with you on that one.
Second one is Kelvin Shepherd, who is a defensive. Okay, this is different. Kelvin Shepherd has been on a rocket ship of an upward trend for a guy who got a staffing job here in 2020, moved into a coaching job in 2021, and 4 years later finds himself as a defensive coordinator of an NFL team and a really good NFL team. And the reviews are fantastic. I think that there's a place in the future where Kelvin Shepherd may be a very viable candidate for this job. But as somebody who's been a defensive coordinator, only been a coach for 4 years and has not been a head coach, I don't think the timing is right now for him.
Yeah,
and he may feel like his future is in the NFL as well. I don't know.
He probably does, knowing Kelvin. I mean, Kelvin likes to work with mature, great guys. Me and Kelvin signed together in 2006. If anybody that knows Kelvin, he's a football genius. I mean, the guy is so smart. I remember, and I'm giving it a little bit more in depth, but in practice, like we had to come up with dummy calls to run plays against Kelvin. Kelvin knew our offense so well, of course, because he saw us every day, but he would be so aggravating. We'd get into yelling and cussing matches because we're trying to practice, and he's telling everybody what we're about to do. I'm like, Kelvin, stop. Like, we got to practice. We know, shut up. But he's that type of guy. He lives in the film room, just loves football, loves football players. I think, like you said, in today's day and age of the way things are going, he's a perfect fit for this style. But like, he's been a coach for 4 or 5 years. It's tough. Like, could I see him having success? Yes. Can I see someone that's only been a coach 4 or 5 years be given a job like this? It's kind of tough.
Yeah, I have no doubt about his acumen with the football part of it. It's the rest of this stuff. I mean, you got to be a fundraiser. You got to be a media consultant. You got to be an agent.
And that's
essentially
stuff he's got zero experience with because he goes straight to the NFL. I talk to guys all the time. The NFL is an easier coaching job because your focus is 100% football.
Yeah. So there may be a day where he's the number one candidate. I think he's a superstar coach on the way up, but I don't think the timing is right for him. We are brought to you by USSSA. USSSA in the capital area, the baseball affiliate, hosting events for all levels of skill, league play, rec all-star divisions, AA, AAA, major league, state, and national events. Lined up for the rest of this year and into next spring. For more information, contact Lane Petrie at 771-9095, 771-9095 for USSSA. All right, so that's the ones that I think we can cross off the list, okay? And if one of them gets the job, I'll take the blame for that. Here's what I spent a lot of time on the post game explaining why I thought that the president's job was a very big factor in this. This was Saturday night, 90 minutes after. We were still trying to get our heads around what was going to happen. So right now, LSU does not have a sitting president. That is going to change here very quickly. I'm going to tell you that there are a group of finalists that will be announced very soon. And next week, LSU is going to name a new president, more than likely. And I think that the favorite to get that job is McNeese State President Wade Roos. Roos was part of that. They've done some very nice things at McNeese. I'm not going to go through his entire resume. We've got a lot of names to get to. But I do think that Roos will be here. I think he will have a very significant say in how LSU moves forward with this coaching search. I can't tell you exactly how it's going to go down, but I do not see him as becoming president of LSU and then sitting on the sidelines for this. I think that he will have a very significant role in that, be that alongside others or at the front of it. I don't know. Scott Woodward, certainly his future is somewhat cloudy right now. But I believe that Wade Roos will be the new president, and I believe that he will have a significant role in this search.
Yeah, and you just got to explain, how that works, because he doesn't officially become the president until January 1st.
Yeah, that's a good point. More than likely, he would operate as, and I don't know if leaving McNeese, what his duties would be there, but essentially I think he would be involved in this search pretty heavily. Even though he is not yet the sitting president, this is part of the transition. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I can't tell you chapter and verse, but I don't think that once he is the president, I think he will be. Things could go, sideways, I guess. But I expect him to have a very prominent role in this, along with the athletic director, any significant boosters or people on the board of supervisors. But I do expect that once they name him president next week, which is what I think is going to happen. That's my prediction. That's my opinion. I think that you're going to see him have a very significant role in that. So let's move now to candidates that we think are viable. And I'm going to go, kind of in tiers here. Lane Kiffin is a name that everybody wants to talk about, so let's talk about him. Kiffin has been the head coach at numerous places. He's been with the Oakland Raiders. He's been at Tennessee. He's been at USC, at Florida Atlantic, and at Ole Miss, where his record is 51-19, 29-17 in the conference, and they are in position to make the college football playoff after that win against Oklahoma. They get to 10 wins, they're in, which means he's got to win 3 of his last 4. They'll be favored in all 4 games. Can you hire a coach that is in the playoff? This is very new to us. This is only the second year of the college football 12-team playoff. Playoffs start on December the 19th. That is after signing, or right around the time where the signing date is done. And then if you advance in the playoffs, they could get a bye. They get a bye. You're talking about January 1st. And then next you're deeper into January if you advance. So you're talking about the transfer portal then. Can a team hire a coach who's got a team in the college football playoff?
That's tough. Refresh my memory. I feel like when we hired Brian Kelly, there was an outside shot they got in.
It was an outside shot. They needed something to happen where they would get in front of Cincinnati, which didn't happen. I wouldn't go so far as to call it the longest shot, but
I felt like that was the big complaint was, how do you bail on a team with a shot to go to the playoffs?
And believe me, that came up, if you remember.
Yeah.
What do? Do you tell a team that you have fought with and you're going to playoffs, you got a 1-12 shot at the national championship?
This goes back to my biggest complaint, and the calendar. The calendar makes it tough. It makes everybody wants to get this done before signing day, which makes sense. Everybody wants to know who their coach is before they put pen to paper. But when you have a shot at, you're trying to hire an elite coach, well, where are your elite coaches? You hope that they're in a 12-team playoff. Those are the guys you're going to go after. But you're basically asking a guy to quit on a team that he's put so much time and effort into. I mean, to me, the calendar is a mess. It makes it tough for the teams who are failing, looking to improve, but it makes guys who are trying to enhance their career put in a tough situation on how they handle it. I mean, to me, that is my biggest frustration with it, because I don't know how you balance that.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. So you end up saying, well, I'm going to leave my team, or you don't leave your team, you stay there, and then you force the school that you're going to wait through the signing period in December, through potentially the transfer portal period in January. That's a tough ask.
No,
you essentially lose an entire cycle there.
You're taking a job with two hands behind your back. You just lost whatever control you had of bringing players in with you.
And for those that would say, well, Alabama waited on Nick Saban, they did, but that was at a different time. There was no early signing period back then. There was no transfer portal back then.
Everybody, I felt like back in the day, I mean, these hires came before signing. Like, I remember back when I was getting recruited, and I guess more tellingly for my brother, coaches didn't get fired till after signing day. That was just, head coaches were different. Assistant coaches,
yeah.
And, they typically held on to all the assistant coaches until everybody signed their signature. And then the day later, they fired the coaches they want to get rid of.
So that's the pros and cons. If Kiffin came here, he would be a terrific, I think, coach. He's a offensive genius. There's a lot of off the field stuff. He's a champion troll, and so he's going to tell you what he thinks. But
that's what fits in with the youth and recruiting and
correct.
Relating to younger kids. He's on social media to troll kids and to get laughs.
One other thing about it. Florida wants him very badly. Ole Miss very badly wants him to stay, and he is a Jimmy Sexton client. Outside of Nick Saban's dalliance with the University of Texas when Mac Brown retired, which I don't know how serious that ever got, this is for Jimmy Sexton, who is the king agent in college football. This is utopia for him. This is the hottest candidate you have, and 3 schools in the Southeastern Conference with enormous budgets that all would want him.
What's Ole Miss paying him right now? I'm not
$9 million.
$9 million.
Okay, I mean his salary would likely be. You would be able to 13. You would be 13 to 15. Yeah. Okay, and Lord knows how long the contract would be. But it is Jimmy Sexton's dream to have a candidate like Kiffin and have LSU, Florida, and Ole Miss all bidding against each other. And I don't feel sorry for him. I understand he's got some difficult decisions to make. I'm talking about Kiffin. But if he wanted to, he could sign a contract extension with Ole Miss right now and put all of this to bed. I don't think he wants to do that. So
even if he wants to stay, I mean, business is business. He's going to roll it out as long as he can.
Kurt Cignetti at Indiana could have played his leverage in this thing all the way to the end of the season if he'd have wanted. With that Penn State job open, he said, no, I'll sign an 8-year extension right now and put all of this to bed. Lane Kiffin could do that. I'm quite certain if he went to Ole Miss tomorrow and said, let's work out a deal right now, let's go out and announce it to everybody, I will tell the entire world I'm not going to Florida, I'm not going to Baton Rouge, and we can be done with this. I wouldn't expect that.
Well, did you see his press conference the other day where he addressed the team about it? Like he said, because he goes, I felt like 2023?
With Auburn.
Yeah. I didn't address it with Auburn, and I felt like it made my team go into a downward spiral.
They lost. Yeah.
So he goes, this time I addressed it. But he didn't say no.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't say no. Let's move on. John Summerall, the head coach at Tulane, 4 years as a head coach. His record in conference play is a sparkling 24-3. 2 conference championships over at Troy. Last year, Tulane, they were 7-1 in the American. This year, they're 6-1 and 3-0. So he's won 2 Sun Belt championships in the 2 years he was there. His record at Tulane in conference play in the American is 10-1. He was a player at Kentucky. He was an assistant coach at Ole Miss and Kentucky before he became a head coach. He is 43 years old and an awfully attractive candidate.
Yeah, I don't know much about him other than what I've read. Everything sounds.
That's what
good.
I'm here for. I'm reading some resumes to you. I think the positive with him
is a defensive guy, right?
He's a defensive guy. He was a linebacker at Kentucky. His teams, if you've watched them at Troy and Tulane, they play very physical football, very hard-nosed football. He is an excellent recruiter, and he is going to be a head coach in the SEC somewhere very soon. If it's not at LSU. He grew up in Huntsville, Alabama, so he has ties in that state.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, Arkansas, Kentucky, if they were to make a move, John Summerall is going to be a head coach in the SEC at some point. It's just a matter of when. And
wait, what if Hugh Freeze gets fired?
that's what I'm saying. No, I think Hugh Freeze will probably get fired.
Yeah, then
and LSU's a better job than Auburn.
Yeah.
But Alabama, he spent an awful lot of time there. Eli Drinkwitz, the current head coach at Missouri, 42 years old. At Missouri, 44-26, 24-22 in conference play, and they've won double-digit games the last 2 years. They're on their way towards that again this year. Drinkwitz, before he was there, was at App State for a year. He had a 12-win season there. He has coached at Auburn, so he's got some SEC ties even before he was a head coach at Missouri. And at 42 years old, he got a salary bump. He's at $9 million again. You're talking about a bunch of money, but all of these guys on this list are. Drinkwitz, I think, is a viable candidate. I don't know if he would leave. He may be very happy at Missouri, but he would be a.
What's his back? Where's he from?
He's from Missouri.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He was born actually in Norman, Oklahoma, but he was at. He grew up. Actually, I'm not sure exactly where he grew up.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I'm
juggling on my notes here. He spent some time in Arkansas at Springdale High School. That was when he was with Gus Malzahn.
Gus
Yeah. Okay. So
Gus was a coach at Spring when I was getting recruited.
Yes. Okay. So
I know one thing about him is Hester loves the guy, so I'm gonna take his opinion.
He's a very good coach.
Yeah.
Very good coach. Kenny Dillingham, the head coach at Arizona State. Been the coach there. This is his third year. The first year they went 3-9. Second year, last year, they went 11-3, made the playoffs, shook the hell out of Texas in the Peach Bowl. And this year, they've fought some injuries with the quarterback and with their lead receiver, Tyson Jordan. They're 5-3 and 3-2. So in 3 years, 19-15, 12-11. But here's what I like about Dillingham, and I'm not endorsing any of these candidates. I'm giving you info, not pushing anybody. He has been the offensive coordinator at Memphis, Auburn, Florida State, and Oregon, and the head coach at Arizona State. He's 35 years old. That's a pretty thick resume for 35 years old. He's young. He's intense. If you watch him on the sideline, he is into it, brother. Now, he did go to Arizona State, so he's at his alma mater, making $7.5 million a year. You'd have to come up with a pretty big offer to get him to move, which that's the case for all of these guys that are on this list. So, young, energetic. It's a short sample size with the head coaching job, but what I've seen so far, I've liked. He's another strong candidate in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things. Like, I love the intensity. But, I don't know much about the guy other than that, Arizona State has been on an upward trend.
Offensive whiz,
okay.
And he's, like I said, I just read you the place he's been the OC.
He's 4 years younger than me. And
he's aced a lot of interviews.
Yeah,
okay,
because
he was successful at all of those places. The next one in what I would call tier one is Jeff Brom, the head coach at Louisville, 54 years old, also at his alma mater. He has been a head coach at 3 different places and had a terrific go at all 3 of them because when he got – first of all, his record at Western Kentucky was 19-5 in league play. But then he went to Purdue, where the 3 seasons before that they had won 3 conference games total. And in 6 years at Purdue, which, sorry, Gordy, is not the most resource-laden program in the Big Ten, he had a winning record in conference play over 6 years at Purdue, okay, not Ohio State or Michigan, at Purdue. He got them into the Big Ten championship game in 2022. Since coming to Louisville, which had 3 losing seasons out of 4, he's 15-5 in conference play. 19-5 in conference play in Conference USA at Western Kentucky. 26-25 in the Big Ten, 15-5 in the ACC. Another offensive whiz. He's 54 years old. Reportedly, he is very happy at Louisville, where he went to school. But this is a guy who has won everywhere he has been. He has been multiple places. He's an offensive guy, and he has done more with less in places. This would be a big resource jump for him.
How much is he being paid?
It's right at I believe $8 million.
Everybody makes a lot of money now.
Though they're all,
Yeah.
I hesitate to bring up some of these numbers because it's going to be a bunch of be a bunch of money to get them out.
What I like to think about it is, what is it going to take to get them to move? You're not getting them to move for another $1 million a year. It's got to be something that's like we talked about Lane making $9 million. I think Lane doesn't leave unless he gets 13. Like that's kind of the number in my head. Yeah. You got to overpay them to get them to move, and that's why I think knowing what they're paid now is pretty key.
Before we go to the next tier, we'll tell you we're brought to you by Marucci Sports. From a backyard shed to the top of the game, more than just a baseball bat company, a legacy built on passion and precision. 2 decades of crafting the finest wood, metal, and leather in the sport. We're here to help you run the game at MarucciSports.com. And don't forget about the Hitter's House, 5801 Segan Lane and 1801 Airline Drive in Metairie. Members get 24/7 access to the members-only cages, bullpen reservation opportunities, and a 15% discount at the retail store. For more information, go to MarucciSports.com. What I like about Braum is the last 2 places were not winning when he got there, and he immediately turned things around. So he's inherited some tough situations. My next tier, I'm going to start with Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. Kind of feel like he is very comfortable where he is.
He's a former Vanderbilt guy.
And Vanderbilt is pumping resources in at a rate that they never have before. He's got Vanderbilt in the top 10.
Yeah.
He's already in the conference. I think it's unlikely, but I thought I'd throw his name out there.
Yeah.
You just watched him, beat LSU a couple weeks ago.
To your point that Vanderbilt's got money, and now that they're dumping into it, I think, and I know I don't know the academic restrictions anymore, but
they're loosening.
They're loosening. You got a city of Nashville.
Nice place.
I think it's a place that if you're getting the money, you're getting the resources, you're getting the funding, you're building it. That could be a sleeping giant. I
would call his, coming here unlikely. I don't know if there's even mutual interest on both sides, but we're throwing candidates out there. The next one is Brent Key. Brent Key is the head coach at Georgia Tech. They are 8-0 this year. May very well also be in the college football playoffs. May have the same problem as Lane Kiffin with him. 26-16 in his 4 years. He did something that is very, very difficult to do. He took an interim job and turned it into a full-time gig. That doesn't happen an awful lot. The last 2 seasons at Georgia Tech, also not the most resource-laden program. 5-3 and 5-3 in the ACC, and this year they're 8-0 and 5-0 in the league. He is 47 years old. He's coached in the league. He was the offensive line coach for Nick Saban 3 years at Alabama. Another physical.
He's a Georgia Tech guy too, isn't he?
Played at Georgia Tech.
It's starting to see a lot of this.
He was an offensive lineman at Georgia Tech. Yeah, a lot of these guys we're talking about are coaching at their alma maters. I think that he is a bright up-and-coming coach. Could you get him? I think you could. You'd have to come with a very strong offer. He's making a little over $4 million a year right now. Seems low, doesn't it? Right?
Yeah, I mean, pay him $7
compared to some of these other ones. But I would expect Brent Key to field an awful lot of offers coming up. He's in Atlanta. You're in the ACC. Feel like you could win long-term there. He spent a lot of time at Central Florida. He was at Central Florida for about 10 years in a variety of different roles. I would call him a kind of a second-tier guy that they would consider other people first, but he's an awfully attractive candidate at this point. I'd like to maybe see a little bit longer with the head coaching, but that's the case for several of these guys. If you want a young guy, the resume, you've only got so much time. That's what makes Dillingham so attractive. All right, the next group, Willie Fritz at Houston. There is nothing not to like about Willie Fritz as a coach. He was at Blinn Junior College. He won national championships there. He was 39-5. He was at Central Missouri from 97 to 2009. He had an exceptional record there. He was at Sam Houston State. He was 45-15. He was at Georgia Southern. He was 14-2 in Sun Belt play. He was at Tulane for 8 years. He was 54-47 there. And at Houston, he was 4-8 his first season. Is now 7-1 this year. He has won everywhere he has been. He is 65 years old. That used to matter to me. I think he wanted a young guy. He's pretty energetic, and he won everywhere. And I don't think you're hiring a coach for 10 years anymore. I think you're hiring a coach for 5 to 7. That's where most of the LSU coaches have been in the last 40 years. Les was the outlier. Everybody else lasted somewhere between 4 and 7. So it doesn't bother me as much anymore. It probably will bother some.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what tier you're trying to pull from. Some of these big name guys are going to want that 10-year guaranteed contract.
And I don't think you would have to give him a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be some pushback against 10-year contracts. I don't think there's anything you can do about the money you're paying them per year, but I think there's going to be some pushback against the 10-year deals. And then the last coach we're going to talk about is Alex Golish at South Florida. Head coach there for 3 years. They're 6-2 this year. They were 7-6 the first 2 seasons. He pulled the upset over Florida earlier in the year. Pulled the upset over Boise State. Has spent some time in the league. He was the OC at Tennessee for a couple of years. He was at Illinois for a while. He was at Iowa State. He was born in Moscow, Russia, 1984. So he is a American Russian is what he is, or Russian American, whatever. He's born in the Soviet Union, okay, but he has been obviously here. He moved to the United States when he was very young. He grew up in Brooklyn, so he was born in Russia, but that's that's the end of that. And the Russians don't have a football team, so I'm not worried about that. Like to see a little bit longer before you would jump in with him, but he's certainly a guy that's on the move up, 41 years old. So that's kind of my list that I'm working off of right now. Probably be somebody that ain't on any of them, but those are some of the guys that we have looked at. So now that we've done that, you ready to look at some film?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do that. First, we're brought to you by Bayou Apparel, helping local businesses communicate their message since 2009. If you're looking for anything LSU, go to everythinglsu.com, made by locals and shipping from Baton Rouge. Bayou Apparel design experts can help you create eye-catching designs that fit your company's message. They do logos, event T-shirts, and promotional items for your business. Go to everythinglsu.com. Richard, we're going to go through some of this film, maybe a little bit less than what we usually do. Obviously, some of this stuff is going to change. Before I hit play here, Frank Wilson, who is the interim coach, reached out to the ex-players today. First of all, the relationship between Brian Kelly and the ex-players wasn't the best. You had a story that you told us before the show.
Yeah, I mean, look, Brian Kelly, the guys that are big-time NFL players still playing in the league, of course those guys are going to be welcome. That's, media and stuff. But, I met Brian Kelly twice, and he just came off as incredibly arrogant to me. Didn't think much of it because, I think, I thought that he was a pretty good coach coming in. So, when Jack Murchie introduced him to me, I'm at the facility, getting my leg worked on, and he just didn't really give me the time of day, just came off, kind of brushed me off like he was too busy for Jack to stop him to talk to me. Yeah. And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but, I gave him his break. I'm like, okay, he's got things
everybody
to do.
Can have a bad day.
Yeah, everybody can have a bad day. But I heard it time and time again from guys, and look, I know it's different. I played for Les. My brother played for Les. Ed recruited me. I mean, the football facility was always open to former players. We all worked out there. We got treatment there. We went to practice. It really wasn't a big deal. But when Brian Kelly came, you couldn't just walk in the door anymore. I mean, you had to call, schedule an appointment, ask permission to be there. And it was just a different vibe. It wasn't the 15 years I've been in Baton Rouge where I could just walk into the facility when I was in town. We didn't have that same, camaraderie.
And Frank Wilson?
Day one says, players, the doors are open. Come back.
Please come back.
Please come back.
Please come to this practice this week.
He wants us to practice on Thursday. He wants us in the building, wants us around the team. And that's Frank. Like, I've known Frank since I was in high school. There's a thing about having former players around. Guys might have grown up watching LSU football and know you or seen you and would like to have that conversation. It brings back a more family atmosphere.
Culture. Okay. All right, let's go to this first play. This is a play in the first quarter, 2nd down and 10. Cassius Howell, who had sacks from both sides on both ends, sacks Garrett Nussmeier here for a 9-yard loss. And Karius Kern got the start. He got worked here by a more experienced player.
I don't know how much work he got. I don't think he touched him. This is just, a young guy getting the first start. I don't know, nervous, getting out of stance. but this can't happen. I mean, at this point, Nuss, I feel bad for him. I mean, he doesn't get enough depth. He's not fast out of his stance, and you're going to watch him right here. He does not touch him.
This is the reason that a lot of people think that Kern's future is at guard.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, when you talk about left tackles, they're athletes. Those guys got to get out quick, kick step, move on their feet, be fast. And this right here this cannot happen. I mean, I still don't understand when I watch it. Like, I don't know how you don't get your hands on a defensive end.
In fairness, this is Kern's first start at left tackle, and Howell led the Southeastern Conference in sacks coming in. This is a mismatch at this point.
I get you getting your butt whipped.
Yeah.
To me, that's just him being nervous, him not getting out on time. He's behind.
My question to now the former offensive coordinator would be, that's Cassius Howell over there. This is a freshman making his first start at this position. You have to help him.
Yeah,
you got to put a tight end over there. You got to put a back over there. You got to put a tight end over there. You got to do something. You can't leave him one-on-one. And I don't know if you got it. Is it in here? Because he takes Weston Davis off the other side later in the half and gets a sack on the other side. That's Cassius Howell over there.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, you got to provide the help.
The second one is Marcel Reed's 41-yard touchdown run.
And this one, I mean, it looks just like the Diego Pavia one. We all flood to one side. This is one where Harold Perkins really confuses me. His eyes are on him. He is the spy, but this pisses me off. I mean, you can run it back. I know Matt and them put this play caught everybody's eyes, but this is just piss poor effort. I mean, this is hit pause right here. Okay, so that's Cooley that had the tight end man, which Perkins got confused and looked like he might need to cover him, but he shouldn't have been. But they are side by side, step by step. Perkins, if anybody knows any history on Perkins, he's known for speed. He's the fastest guy out there. He ran down Green at Arkansas and ran down all these great athletes at quarterback. Now run the play, and you tell me who's running hard.
Cooley's running hard.
And that's just unacceptable because run it back just a little bit. I mean, if you're giving effort, I don't give a damn where you are on the field. You don't know what's going to happen. And if he's hauling butt down here, and these guys are all hauling ass, they're getting here. He cuts back. He could have knocked him out, fumbled the ball, stopped him. He throws an interception a few drives later on the third.
Right here, when he cuts back right here. Okay, if Perkins is anywhere near Cooley, he's got a shot to make a hit here.
Matt made the best, comparison. That's about 7 to 8 yards different from where they started side by side. He said, okay, so if Cooley runs a 4.5 in the 40, and you're just saying based off this, he did the math. I'm not good with all that crap, but he said Perkins, to have that big of a difference, if both are running full speed, that's one guy running a 4.5, that's one guy running a 5.8. Perkins doesn't run a 5.8.
They teach math in the morning?
No,
on the show?
Matt's a nerd. But to me, this is, I brought this up last week in the Vanderbilt film. There was a couple plays where Perkins took off, didn't give a lot of effort on plays. That the 4th and 1 against Vanderbilt, there was another play where the guy's rolling out. He could have knocked him out. You never know if you're going to get a fumble there. But that cannot happen. I mean, that's not a good look. No one, when you sent me the text, whatever that wasn't true, I believed it right there because, I mean, that's the type of effort that was given.
He was a lousy spy on Saturday night. We are brought to you by Dependable Storage, 8 locations across Louisiana and 1 in Gulfport, Mississippi. Match into competitors' pricing and offer convenient online rentals and payments. Free use of the moving truck for new rental move-ins. Clean, secure, and conveniently located facilities. Check out the website at dependablestorage.com for locations, pricing, and rentals. At Dependable Storage, like Skip Bertman always says, we want your stuff. This is a 3rd down and 7. LSU's at their own 34-yard line, early second quarter. This is a pass to Kyle Parker for 3 yards.
Yeah, let this one run because you can really talk about it in the wide view from the end zone. This is one where I'm not sure what they're taught, what their rules are. This is a 3rd and 7 that you get a 3-yard route on. Unacceptable. Now, they're bringing a heavy blitz, and you're going to see it. They get the blitz call. Everybody recognizes it. They're sliding the line to the right. They're leaving the end on hot. Everybody knows what's coming. You're bringing everybody off here, but I don't get thrown to the backside. I mean, I talked to Matt, and he said there's different times, and everybody's got different rules. But my whole life, I was taught throwing to the blitz. because on the backside you got guys dropping. Your hot routes are slants, quick routes getting out. You're going to see guys drop. The guys are dropping. It's hard to throw a slant into droppers. But in my rules, you were taught to throw into the blitz. If you rewind it, watch if Nick Anderson runs a slant right here. It's probably a touchdown right there. Hit him. There's no one there because everybody vacates. Everybody's dropping away from the blitz. This is a coaching issue. I don't know what they're taught, what the rules are, but we were taught to throw into the blitz.
This next play is a 3rd down and 4 from the 5-yard line. This is early in the 3rd quarter, and this is the play that gave A&M the lead for good.
And this is one I swear I wasn't trying to pick on Pert. I picked the plays and then watched him later, but I'm not sure what he's doing on this one. I mean, I initially think he's a spy again. If you watch from the snap of the ball, his eyes are on the quarterback. Then he looks to a crosser. The crosser doesn't come. Right there, I think he's spying. Then he sees the crosser doesn't come. And then the depth is what I don't understand. The situational awareness. You can run it back, or this is fine. Okay, so I get right here. Look, spy, crosser. He sees a crosser, but he runs a whip. He goes back out. So his eyes go back to the center. When he goes back to center, you want to say, okay, does he have the back? I don't think so. Thought he was in spy. But once he gets his eyes back to the quarterback, he drifts to the back of the end zone. There's nothing you can do from that depth. I mean, if you had the back, well, then he's in the end zone wide open, you're not covering him. If you're the spy, why are you falling backwards? This is just another one of the plays that doesn't make sense to me.
This next play is the punt return. This was in the early part of the 3rd quarter. Chadwick's punt is 60 yards. Casey Concepcion, we talked about in the pregame, returns this one 79 yards for a touchdown. There's a loss of containment, and there's plenty of missed tackles.
This is Chris Hilton down here running the gunner. I'd have to go back to watch film. Hadn't watched a lot of special teams. Don't know if he's been the gunner all year long. He's a speed guy, but he breaks the number 1 rule you don't ever as a gunner. You don't bend in. Your job is to stay on the outside shoulder pad to make him push back into where the rest of your guys are. And if you watch it when you run it back, he starts out right. I don't know where he thinks if he's going to make a play. He starts to bend in right at the numbers and really push back. But you can't do that as a contained gunner. You have to stay upfield. And that is – he saw that, and he's like, this is a touchdown. And then, of course, you get poor missed tackling. I think a few guys I don't think we're running that hard. I don't think they could have caught up to him. But, I was always taught don't leave anything that looks like you slowed down on the film.
I can't imagine at any point in the offseason that Chris Hilton thought he would be a gunner on the punt team.
No.
In week 8.
This right here is where it's bad. You're supposed to stay outside the numbers where he was, and he bends all the way in. But like I said, I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of film on the punt team.
We talked about Chris Hilton a lot in the offseason. Did we talk about he's going to be a real special teams? No. I'm not getting on Chris Hilton. If he's like, hey, look, I will do. Obviously, I'm not part of the pass. Yeah, I want to be on the field. I want to try. Okay, I'm at least going to give him that. Now, maybe his technique is poor here. Well, obviously it is. But this is not what Chris Hilton was. Chris Hilton was a 5-star receiver that was brought to LSU to be a speed burner in the same class as Malik Neighbors, by the way, where he was, I think, rated out of high school higher than him. And here he is in year 5, and he's covering punts. I understand early in the season why you didn't get him involved in the pass game if Nussmeier couldn't push the ball down the field, but they wasted his year. I mean, he's got 4 catches, I think, on the entire season.
He's not the guy that I would think you'd have as a gunner.
Yeah. We're also brought to you by Town Square Pizza. For pickup or delivery, and catering is available downtown on North Boulevard. Delicious delicious personalized pizza with unmatched speed. If you've got a limited amount of time for lunch, Town Square Pizza can take care of you in downtown. Very generous portions. And for out-of-towners, they're open Monday through Saturday from 11 until 8. So if you're coming in for games, you can check out Town Square Pizza in downtown Baton Rouge. Also, craft brews are available there. Town Square Pizza on North Boulevard. All right, we got a few more for you here. This one is a 1st and 10 at the LSU 24 for Texas A&M. Marcel Reed going to Morrow for the touchdown.
Look, this is a good play design. They're going to run a screen to the backside, get people flowing. But this is another effort play for me. If you hit pause right here. Look, Weeks, he's just throwing the ball to here. Weeks, his eyes are on him. you would think that where he is, where Weeks is, you run a good angle, you can stop that. If you run a little bit more, hit pause right here. Perkins got him by 15 yards, 12 yards, whatever it is. You would think he could cut him off. Neither one of these guys give effort. You're going to watch Weeks right here. That's an offensive lineman. He goes behind him. That's stupid. You don't do that if you're trying to stop the play. I mean, you don't run away from the angle. It's just, to me, this is guys quit right here. Both of them are jogging. Both of them avoid contact. Like, this is, to me, this is a toughness issue. And look, I've seen Weeks play a lot. I think things change in this game. I mean, I think guys' mentality change. Perkins, why would you run around him into the end zone to get the stop? Weeks runs around the guy. This is not wanting to.
You're not the only person that thinks that things changed in this game, and obviously they did. We know everything that went down.
You can run that back, and this is a little bit more frustrating to me. If you watch Perkins the whole time, he's got the tight end, okay. At no point right there is he running a route. I mean,
no argument.
You have to feel that. And then you get your eyes onto him, and you're 15 yards ahead of the guy. I mean, this might be a better angle. I don't even know if I watched this angle. But right here.
You were mad enough after the first two.
Right there. You have the angle. Like, a good running back's going to make that play. But you can also have an effort into stopping it at the goal line. And I don't think they tried to.
Couple more, if we can stand it. This is a 4th down and 4 at the LSU 26-yard line. Nussmeier to Green for 3 yards.
4th and 3? Or
4th and 4, yeah.
All right. Trying not to get as mad. You can let this one – I'll start talking about it in a second. Nussmeier gets fooled. He thinks it's man coverage. They swap. Green's he's played really well right now. You got to have situational awareness. You don't run a 3-yard route in a 4th and 4 because
you don't get the first down.
Yeah. And look, Nussmeier was fooled. Nuss thought he had a man coverage into a pick. He didn't. They swapped it. If you're going to watch it, he's going to come over. Barry and Brown's going to run over to set the pick. Well, all they do is swap. 7's going to take Barry, and this guy's going to sit wait on Green. So what he thought he was running into a pick in man coverage, he would have that. But if I'm Green and I'm coaching Green, I don't give a damn what coverage it is. It's 4th and 4. You don't run a 3-yard route. I think if Nussmeier read the coverage correctly, he hits Aaron Anderson for a first down. So right here, he thinks it's the pick, and they just swap. I mean, I see what he was thinking, but had to have seen something on film. If he waits another half second, Aaron Anderson makes a play.
The issue was decided by this point, but this is a 2nd and 5, the LSU 11.
You can tell by the effort right there that
everybody ready to go home.
The issue was decided. I mean, to me, that play summed up the second half. I think everybody quit on this play. And there's a little bit of effort. I don't think Butler, really tries to make that play.
That's weak.
Yeah,
that's weak. That's embarrassing, and then you see the frustration at the end of it. And if you're in the stadium watching this upstairs, we talk about it. Hey, the big coaching firings this year have come after embarrassing losses at home, where everybody's there. And if you look, I give the LSU fans credit; they showed up for this. This was the best game on the season ticket package. The weather was bad early in the afternoon, but it cleared up. They got there. They were into it in the first half. LSU's got the lead. Maybe a little bit of fool's goal because they took advantage of some mistakes by Texas A&M, but give them credit. They had the lead. And then the whole program collapsed in that third quarter. The coach, the team, the effort, that everything was lost in that third quarter, and then into the fourth quarter. So
I mean, and yeah, give them credit for having the lead in the first half, but everything seemed clunky. Like, I haven't felt good in a win this year. Clemson, I was a little bit fooled. Thought Clemson was really good. They weren't. But even in the Florida win, we're talking about the offense. Like, nothing ever felt good in a win this year. And then you talk about that. You have an interception on the goal line. You have a block punt for a safety. Like, you have so many things that people are shooting themselves in the foot that you take advantage of and credit, but you never felt that you were the better team.
The Halsey interception came with what Marcel Reed said was a defense that they had not seen before. So give them credit for good design on that one. The block punt, A&M whiffed on the block. He came clean. Okay. I give Delane credit for sticking his hand in to get the tip that Perkins ends up with the interception. That was a nice play. But it was more the
I felt like
the
A&M was
errors,
running-
for Texas A&M. Okay, so this was a double episode this week. We won't have film study next week with off week, and then we'll see after the Alabama game, and by that time we'll have a lot more information to share with you. So I know this was a lot. We wanted to do both. We wanted to talk about potential candidates because everybody wants to know who the next coach is going to be, as do we, and we wanted to show you. I'd like to come up with a more polite way than to say just how bad this was, especially in the second half on Saturday night. So we appreciate everybody for watching and listening. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe button as we move forward with the last 4 weeks of the season. For Richard Dickson, I'm Charles Hannigraf. This has been the Hannycast.